Warning, this video is intended for adult collectors. It contains plastic collectibles, questionable opinions, and the #1 enemy of translucent plastic. It's too late. Random review is about to begin.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the TJOmega channel for day 1286 of our daily content grind, and look who I just happened to find. I'm so used to my area being very slow to get brand new Transformer releases. The fact that I found this basically when everyone else is finding it is kind of stunning to me. It was actually, of all stores, GameStop who came through for me, who I almost never find any new Transformer stuff at. Got a little bit lucky. So I thought, let's actually take a look at the stuff that I acquired. Now, for the moment, the only ones I have found have been the new Voyagers. So we're going to take a look at, well, I guess, who's technically the original Prime, the leader of the 13 Primes, Prima Prime from Age of the Primes. Have I said Prime enough times yet? Prime. There we go. Okay, there's the quota. We will go beyond it as we describe the toy. So, Prima here. Interesting vehicle mode. It really makes me think back to the interviews they did with the designers for the Bumblebee movie toys, the Studio Series ones. All those background characters from the Cybertron scene that they really wanted to do toys for. And they apparently just enjoyed the process because the robot is the only thing they had to really focus on, and the vehicle could be whatever they wanted, which made them basically a blank canvas. And these primes kind of feel the same way. They're going to be depicting the most popular or well-known iteration of those primes, so really they could do whatever they want with the vehicle. And in this case, they've made something akin to the prototype lunar cruiser that Optimus Prime transformed into, like you remember that toy that Takara made? It's something akin to that, like some kind of lunar buggy or truck, and it's an interesting look. I mean, yeah, I do like all the detail to it. Like, it's sculpted pretty well. You can tell what's going to become actual robot parts because they have a lot more tech greeble showing than, say, you know, like the top of the driver's section here. But overall, yeah, it's not a bad vehicle. I mean, it's slightly truck-ish, so you are still getting that, like, that six-wheel vehicle you expect out of a proper Prime, a proper matrix-bearing Prime. You know, and it's not a bad look. I like the off-white that it is cast in. It keeps that that sculpted detail from getting muddled out. You have a little bit of translucent blue here for the windows, and we will talk about that because there's something interesting about the translucence on this toy. Beyond that, we do have some gunmetal gray molded in as well. It makes up the size of the bumpers here, makes up the wheels. A few other parts we'll see in the robot mode. But a lot of this is also painted in that darker silver shade. All this rear section is paint, and then all of this trimming the lower section of the vehicle is paint. And I like that darker silhouette that it creates going from the back all the way to the front bumper. And the front bumper also include a little bit of metallic blue, which you can also see on the floodlights up top, and a little bit there dotting the back. That won't really make sense until we get this guy into robot mode. But yeah, it's definitely a unique vehicle. I mean, I do like the overall look. It does kind of convey that, you know, this is something of an ancient alien vehicle, and I like that. Around the back, not a whole lot going on, going to admit. However, we can see the weapon storage from here. I like the blue blade sticking out the back. That just kind of like adds to the alien aesthetic to me, but that is weapon storage. I can go ahead and pull that free. And then if you want the hilt for that blade, it's under here, pegged into the side of the wheels, and it's a very unusual method to mount a hidden weapon piece for storage, but you know what? I guess it works. It's a little odd, but it works. Okay, so let's attempt transformation. And I'm going to try and do it while still in this frame, and then we'll switch frames for the robot mode so we can get a better look at that. Okay, so I'm going to start by unplugging the bumper from the front. And I want to get the legs out first, so I'm going to flip these out of the way, which does remind me, if you wanted to, you can also display this guy in a sort of hover tank mode. or like a hover vehicle, because everything does kind of like flatten out so that you can display him that way, and that is in the instructions. You actually can work this toy that way, which is kind of a neat little side bonus. But for now, I'm just going to get this all out of the way so we can get into properly transforming him. Okay, so I'm going to get the arms unplugged from the sides. And just to get these out of the way, I'm going to go ahead and flip the legs out, like so. Let's go down to the legs first, actually. I'm going to flip the feet like that, and then double hinge the wheels in. This tab is going to peg into that slot down there. That's going to hold all of that into place. Tabs hold the legs together. I like sliding them apart, so I'm not forcing anything there. Okay, so let me open this up, because we're going to need to flip the head out. I'm going to go ahead and get those wheels back, rotate the whole thing like so. Alright, let's get that out of the way. Go ahead and get the forearms handled, which start by flipping those hands out and doubling over those panels to create the forearms. Lowering these down. You're going to want these tabs in the shoulders to aim for those slots in the front of the torso. Just like that. Hold everything nice and steady there. Go ahead and rotate the arms into position. And that's going to be your transformation. Let me reframe this now. So for me, while the transformation is fun, and I don't think there's any like particularly interesting tricks to it, though I do like the way that it's folding all the wheels away to be very well hidden and create this very smooth robot aesthetic. So yeah, it forms up pretty nicely. It's not a bad transformation at all, and you are left with a very clean and very, very well-proportioned robot. Prima looking really, really good here. Yeah, you have the shoulder pauldrons. You can do it as you will, but officially they're just kind of left floating, so we'll leave them like so. But no, he makes for a pretty solid-looking robot. As we said, proportionally looking really, really nice. Backside, a little bit of canopy left over, but that's pretty much it. I did want to mention the canopy part. Let me open him up a little bit so I can show you this. The canopy is an attached translucent piece. The only thing it's being held on, like it's being held into like the bumper's hinge, but that's not vital. And it's screwed into the parts that hang the shoulders hinge off of, but it's not being torqued in any way. This is translucent plastic used correctly. It's decorating the toy without being integral to its structure, meaning I don't fear it. It actually kind of feels like it might actually hold up, which is a breath of fresh air to me. Now, I do need to give you a close-up of the head, because the head is actually important on this guy. So, this is the big thing about these toys. They are an amalgamation of the various popular depictions of the 13 primes. In this case, while the body is mostly designed after how Prima looked in the Covenant of Primus book, the head design is taken straight from the flashback scene from Five Faces of Darkness and what would be G1 Prima. The colors are not correct for that depiction, and I'm hoping for a repaint at some point. But if you wonder where those weird banana ears came from, yeah, it came from Floro Dairy in the original G1 designs. So take it for what you will. I don't mind it. It looks unique, and I really, really love Five Faces of Darkness as a story. So yeah, I actually kind of vibe with this. I'm actually happy they went in this direction. Sculpting wise, the toy is definitely a lot more detailed than it looked in robot mode or vehicle mode. Especially a lot of the things like the shoulders, the bumpers for the vehicle mode, definitely give him a lot more detail here. You can see a lot more tech greeble and angular panels going on in the legs. The forearms, just by the nature of how they are transforming, that double hinge fold over, That alone is giving them a much more paneled and detailed look. And obviously the chest has a lot of sculpting as well, decorated in that metallic blue, which is now not only in Prima's eyes, but also across the shoulders, the chest, and a little bit in the midsection. It's kind of a bland color scheme because he is very monochrome outside of that blue. But when you're talking about what is essentially the prototype for all future primes, your Sentinel, your Nova, your Optimus, etc., that actually kind of makes sense. So we will go with that. But it's not a bad look, I like him quite a bit for what he is, as far as like robot detail goes. I think he looks cool, and he's definitely feels a lot better in my hand than I expected to. So, articulation rundown. So we do have ball joints in the neck. Look how good that ball joint cut is. He looks straight up if he wanted to. And of course, 360-degree rotation there. The shoulder pauldrons are double hinged, so you can get those out of the way as you will. The universal shoulder works really, really nicely. You have to make sure that, I'm a little bit too feverish moving it around, so I've accidentally dislocated the chest in the process. And obviously, if you want a different look to the shoulder pauldrons, that double hinge gives you plenty of range to do that. We have the bicep rotation. Also, I really like how the bicep is actually like the groove for to make space for the wheel in vehicle mode. It's kind of clever. You have the hinge at the elbow, which gets you just above 90 degree. And then a ball joint on the wrist, so you get a little bit of extra movement aside from just rotation. Interestingly enough, he has this piece, which the way it clicks open makes me feel like this is a transformation element, but it never comes into play during his transformation. So it's just like an ab stretch hinge, which is a little bit odd. I'm not entirely sure why it's there, but it is. I will admit, I might have transformed him wrong. Who knows? Anyone who looks in the instructions knows. Waist rotation. Okay, yep, works all the way in both directions. Great to see. Thighs. Yep, we have full rotation at the hips. We have full rotation at the thighs. We have a just beyond the 90 on the knee, a forward foot, as well as the ankle tilt. All the articulation you come to expect from a Generations toy these days. This guy is absolutely loaded with it. Excellent, excellent. Oh, and if we want to add one more, the hands open. That's actually kind of rare. So good on you, Prima. You're a little bit above standard. Now, accessory-wise, we already saw the sword and the hilt. We can actually combine them now, so we can give him a proper weapon. I don't like that the sword is all translucent plastic, because that does make me fear for this weapon's future, but I feel like I wouldn't mind just gluing this together if that came to be. I think I prefer the full sword rather than just the blade in the vehicle mode, so I would be willing to sacrifice that. Go ahead and put that in said hand. It's a very cool sword design, by the way. I do like the prongs around the base of the blade. I like the translucent blue blade itself. It's a firmer plastic, so don't worry about it being really warped right out of the packaging, like a lot of those really soft plastic blades end up being. It does look incomplete, though. It does look incomplete, which means we need to open the chest and reveal Prima's Matrix of Leadership, and it's a very rare one. This is the original version when it was still young. It hasn't rusted or patinaed yet, so it's all silver. Go ahead and remove that, just like any old good Matrix accessory, and we can plug it right into the hilt to complete the Star Saber, the original iteration of the Star Saber. And he does look very, very cool holding it. It's a great piece. I love the interplay with the Matrix. And of course, it's a standard Matrix mold, so if you want to see how it looks with the gold one, or if you want to plug a gold Matrix into his chest, you are probably going to have one or two lying around that can do exactly that. But that is going to be Prima Prime from Age of the Primes, and it's a pretty strong start. Admittedly, it's not a character most are going to be nostalgic about, but it is a really good looking figure. It's doing something new. It's giving us fresh toy, not just rehashing the same old G1 characters, and it plays really well. I mean, I'm very, very happy with it. And it's a nice little start of what's going to be a collection of primes, aside from, Vector, who's already out. But you know what? Not a bad first impression for this toy line. So, that's it for me today. I think we'll be doing Red Alert tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. And as always, I will see you next time.